welcome to my Ninjago news video, and today is my breakdown analyst, whatever you want to call it, for the latest Lego Ninjago teaser for the newest Season 11 Secrets of the Forbidden Spinjitzu, which is a mouthful to say. the new subtitle for this thing is like, it's a mouthful to say. Like, you try saying it 10 times fast, you couldn't. Like, Secrets of the... can't even say it. You can't say it fast. But anyway, so the teaser's officially released now. This is the official one, not the leaked one that we saw on Teletoons. And basically, getting right down to it, basically it starts off with something very interesting, and that is... The Fold, which is the original people who made the intro for the original Ninjago. You know, the weekend whip thing, or the pyro whip, or the pirate whip. Yeah, all that stuff. It sounds like they're coming back. Whether they're coming back to do an intro is still not exactly confirmed, but the fact that they did this teaser means they may be returning for something, which is really awesome to see. And they actually really helped hype this make this trailer 10 times better, to be honest. When they were around doing the trailers were awesome. Makes it like more upbeat and less dark. Because you know, season 8, even season 7, all that, they were more dark. Like the trailers, they weren't as upbeat. This one has gone back to like the original Ninjago, where it's all upbeat and it's like all action based and doesn't reveal much of the story, which is even better. I mean, you can get a feel of the story in this, like, for sure. Although some people say this did not reveal any story and just shows that there is no story for it. This trailer does reveal some things for the story, but not like the other trailers did. Like, very bland. Like, you have to really assess it thoroughly to get what the story will be basically about. And that's good, because it means it doesn't spoil the whole season. So, you know... Other than the fact that the episodes will be smaller, you know, I really like how it's bigger season, but I really like the season so far from this teaser. The only thing is going to be the episode smaller, as I said. Anyway, so first up, obviously, we see the land bounty, basically, you know, traveling through the desert. Now, I think I have a thing about the land bounty, which I kind of been thinking about ever since it was revealed, is why? Like, why did they build the land bounty? I mean, it makes no sense. I mean, they still had the bounty and it hadn't been destroyed in March of Leone. As far as, no, it hadn't been destroyed. And it just, I mean, I get why they probably made it. I mean, they're sick and tired of the bounty being destroyed, so they probably put the bounty in storage and just built this thing and said, you know, if it gets destroyed, forget it. Like, it's just like, they're so tired of the bounty being destroyed. It's like they just decided to build this cheap little thing. I mean, it's not cheap, it's big, but it's just I don't get it. I don't get the land bounty, but it's pretty cool looking, apart from the fact that I don't get it. In this trailer, we also get to see our first glimpse of all the pyro serpentine, the pyro snakes. Basically, you know, so, you know, the new bad guys, along with the awesome mice. Although this trailer heavily focused on the pyro serpentine rather than the Isomoy, which is interesting to say, which means I'm guessing maybe the next trailer will, you know, involve more the Isomoy. Or, you know, maybe the first half of the season will be all about the pyro snakes and have just little sneak peeks of the Isomoys, and then the second half will be about Isomoys. That's also a possibility, which I'm thinking. So I'm thinking one of those two things. Actually, I'm thinking definitely thinking the whole first half, second half thing. So anyway, basically, with the pyro snakes, we get a first glimpse of what their story will be about, because we see obviously the leader of the pyro snakes, which, you know, is Aspa or something. I don't have her name, but basically she has one of the ninjas, which, you know, it's not entirely sure who it is, I will admit, But I'm 100% positive that it's Kai that they're doing this to. And basically, because what you can see fire around the ninja, and then you can see like fire being drained. And from what I gathered, they're basically, draining Kai's powers or taking some of his power. This doesn't always necessarily mean that Kai will have no powers in this, in any way possible. It just means that they're draining his powers to become Power Snakes. And the fact that the reason I'm saying become Power Snakes, because if you look at it and look at like this whole thing, that part, and then after that part, she doesn't have fire on her, and then she has fire after. I feel like they weren't Power Snakes, Power 17 before. I feel like they were just regular Egyptian Serpentine, and then, they're basically doing something, and then they become Power 17 with Kai's fire. That's my guess. I'm not really sure about that, but it kind of makes sense looking at that exact scene in the teaser. It's not a trailer. Well, it's a teaser. Whatever. So that's my guess with the Power Snakes, which is what makes them look cool, because I really like the style of these 17 now, and I'm glad the trailer focused on them rather than the Samurais, because I was always a fan of these guys more than anything else. They look so awesome, like just the fire, and it just looks amazing. So after we get, a glimpse of the Serpentine and how they become their pyro selves, we get to see a new creature to Ninjago, and it's a giant beetle thing. I don't know what type of beetle it's. I got some ideas of what the beetle is, but it's a giant beetle, and the ninjas basically, as you can see here, look like they were having a picnic, and then, this bug just like, "Hi there, can I join the picnic?" I mean, talk about ants stealing a picnic, right? So anyway, basically it's funny to see another giant creature. First we have the Great Devourer, then we have this crab thing, and I think there's been another giant creature. I just can't think of it right now. But anyway, and now we have this thing. It's like, when I see it emerge from the ground, I think of Godzilla. The new Godzilla movie with all those things emerging from the ground. That's what it's like. Wow, look, they're titans. They're titans of Ninjago. No, it's got nothing to do with that. I just think. And also another little awesome surprise, which isn't really a surprise because we knew it was coming, but also people were hesitant to believe it was happening. But we get to see Clutch Powers, officially part of Ninjago now. Apart from his Easter egg way back in, I want to say it was 7 or 6. I can't remember, but it was the Royal Blacksmith. That's the name of the episode. And he was referenced by Cole, that he explored, and now he's in it. And he's got an eye patch, and he definitely looks older. However, a lot of people are wondering, is this Clutch Powers from his movie? Now, if it is, it's kind of weird, but at the same time, they probably will do that. But if they do, they have to explain it well, because his movie, it's like completely different in Ninjago, like a completely different feel, completely different theme, completely different in every way. So it doesn't make sense that it's that exact. It could just, in my opinion, it's just the same type of character, same type of origin, but merged with Ninjago. So it's a different Clutch Powers, but it's the same Clutch Powers. It's complicated, but anyway. Or maybe he's from another planet. Because remember, if Clutch Powers, so you travel to different planets. Anyway, let's move on from that. I'm just kidding. But yeah, so I don't think it's linked to the actual Clutch Powers movie. However, it is Clutch Powers. He is in it because it's referenced. And that's basically that. We also get to see, in the Egyptian temple, a beam of light come out of it with a symbol, which I'm still trying to decipher what that means. I'm guessing that has a major part of the plot. This will be a major part of the plot in some way. But anyway. Also, another thing I forgot to mention about Clutch Powers is the reason he's most likely in this now is because if you remember the Easter egg when Cole mentioned him as part of the thing, he mentioned how he was the one who got the Fang Blade from the temple that Pythor, man, there's so many P's. Pythor was trying to get the Fang Blade from. It was missing, he got it, and all that, and he was a famous explorer That's probably why people think it's in the same universe. But anyway, basically, the reason it's connected, the reason he's probably appearing now is because the temple was an Egyptian temple, and it was a snake temple. This is Egyptian snakes, and he's the explorer that explored basically what I'm assuming, and everyone's assuming, is their temple. That's why he's in it. That's my theory, and it makes sense. Anyway, and then next we get to see our first glimpse of Atona, whatever, how you pronounce her name, I'm sorry, and also the return of Nelson. No, Nelson. You remember that? Do you remember that kid that was in the hospital that the ninjas visited? Well, with the broken leg. Well, actually, did he have two broken legs or one? I can't remember. I think he had two broken legs, actually. Yeah, but anyway, you can see them both, and they're basically riding bikes together, so either they're friends or they're related in some way. It'd be cool to see them like related, as like brother, sister, mother, son, as some people say. But anyway, that's basically that. We get to see the Pyro Serpentine attack Ninjago with giant snake things, which aren't mechs, they're actually living snakes that are giant, so more Devour kind of things, but these ones are fire-based and controlled, unlike the Devour. Still want to know more about Devour and how these guys tie in with the Devourer, but anyway, in my mind, in reality, these are the first Serpentine ever, even before the Venomari, if you go with Ninjago's history now. Another thing we get to see is Samurai X help fight the Pyro Snake. We also get to see Nia basically step it up again and face off with one of the leader giant snake leader things. She's basically it could be anyone, but I'm pretty sure it's Nia because I don't know anyone else with water powers. There could be, but I'm gonna go with Nia. You don't see, but I'm gonna go with Nia was basically doing that, and if it was, she definitely stepped it up. But she was literally using all that water power to hold off that snake's fire breath. So there's that. We also get to see our first glimpse of the Forbidden Spinjitzu in action with Lloyd. And it looks cool, but again, I'm still annoyed. I still feel there's going to be lots of continuity errors. There's definitely going to be lots of continuity errors with the Forbidden Spinjitzu and Ninjago's history. However, I'm just going to go along with the ride and enjoy it, because otherwise I'll think too much. I try not to think too much about that stuff, but anyway. But there is one thing that bothers me about the Forbidden Spinjitzu, and that is the design of the characters when they're using it. Like the crystallized hair thing and all that. I don't get it. It looks disturbing and just doesn't look good. Especially on another character, which we'll get to in a second. But it's just, I don't like it. However, I will say this. With the crystallized hair shape, the shape of the hair, crystallized stuff, whatever it is, and the fact that they're glowing like that, really makes me feel like, they're basically become Super Saiyan ninjas. I mean, see, they throw the thing and they can throw like balls, although they could already do that, but this one, like, it looks like a Super Saiyan. They're basically Super Saiyans now. Which is funny because if you notice, last season, they were nerfed. This season, the ninjas, when they get the Forbidden Spinjitzu, are going to be, back to their heights. Like, one season, they're all nerfed. Next season, they're OP. Season after that, they're nerfed again. It's like, make up your mind, would ya? Anyway, another thing that is interesting, and a lot of people are trying to figure out, is we actually see Wu in his Forbidden Spinjitzu form, and I've got to say, this one was even the worst looking one. I mean, like in Forbidden Spinjitzu mode. Although I'm not a fan of his new cape. I mean, no capes. But anyway, like his Forbidden Spinjitzu comes out, that helmet, his straw hat. It's like, how's that? It just doesn't make sense. He's got a straw hat and then the thing sticking out there. It's so weird. I don't know if they meant to do that or if it's just they decided it was just a conscious choice. It's the worst one out of them all. It's like sticking out there. It's like, how's it sticking out his straw hat? Anyway, basically, Wu there attacks the ninjas for some reason. We don't know why. Could be just training, but the look of it looks like he's basically evil, or in my opinion, corrupted by the Forbidden Spinjitzu. Just it makes more sense. I mean, looking at it. Then we get to see them fighting. Then it skips ahead or before, because the next scene after that where they're fighting Wu is beforehand, before the getting the Spinjitzu, and that one looks like they're training. So they're training in that scene. Another awesome thing that will happen in the season that we get to see in the teaser is flashbacks. And I don't mean flashbacks with ninjas, I mean flashbacks of Wu and Down as kids. Which actually, I don't know if this comes before Down's being bitten or not, because looking at it, it might be before he got bitten, because he was totally different when he got bitten. So that's basically that. We get to see Wu there, and that'll be awesome. They said there's going to be a lot of more flashbacks, which, to be honest, as long as it doesn't take away from the episode, it'll be fine. Sometimes flashbacks, if you do too many in one episode, and the episodes are shorter, it may be, kind of, how should I say this, terrible, because when there have been shows that have done so many flashbacks that people just got sick of them. They're like, enough flashbacks. Hopefully Ninjago doesn't do that. Next up, we get to see the ninjas in their relaxed outfit, just like in the teaser that was leaked by Teletoons. And some people actually think that the animation is the exact same as that. It's not. It is more enhanced than the original teaser that Teletoons leaked. That you can definitely tell a difference, especially if you pay attention. But one thing that people are probably more annoyed at, just because the leak trailer did this too, and they thought it was an error and it just wasn't fixed, is the fact that the ninjas, are not in shape anymore. Their bodies are being changed. And I just gotta say this now, people. You guys don't realize that. You do gotta realize that even with we know the first episode that was leaked is basically say they were, gotten lazy and Wu has to retrain them and all that, basically. Okay? The fact that that evidence there basically explains why their bodies aren't in shape. They've been relaxing. They're out of shape because they haven't been training and all that. So basically we get to see a bunch of fighting. We get to see Lloyd's Titan mech, which does look awesome, but also kind of looks like a more evolved version, a more modern version of the, first Ninjitsu Masters mech, if you remember that from the original Ninjago season. Not the pilot, the season. After that, we get our first glimpse of the Ice Samurai. Now again, this teaser does heavily focus on the pyro snakes more than this samurai, but there are tiny glimpses, which the way that they made this trailer makes me think, like I said, the first half it's going to be about, pyro snakes, and the second half will be about Ice Samurais, and somewhere towards the end we'll get to see the Ice Samurai starting to rise, and then the next scene will be stopping them, kind of thing. Because we see the Ice Samurai here, Zane's basically scanning him, and also he ends up also scanning the Ice Dragon. Now, looking at this part, the whole thing with Zane being evil is a lower possibility now. However, he could still be, I will admit, but I don't see how and why they would make Zane evil, maybe corrupted, but yeah. So basically that, we get to see a nice village covered in ice, probably being frozen by the Ice Dragon. We don't know if it's in Ninjago or not. Could be, but it could be in the Nether Realm, which is where they're supposed to go. Again, we get to see more of the ninjas being beaten up in the monastery because they've gone lazy. That's most likely what the scene is. We get to see Jay face off against the Beetle. Lloyd take on Aspira, the leader of the Fire Power Team, whatever how you pronounce it. And we get to see more Snow World with a wolf attacking Jay and Jay electrocuting it. And an interesting thing about this scene is some people have pointed out that the background kind of looks like the Dark Island. Now, again, there could be things that look like that in other locations too. However, could be, and it would be an interesting thing to see, the Dark Island in snow and seeing the Dark Island again in the official Ninjago. Obviously, the Dark Island trilogy exists, but that's not animated, so it'd be cool to see an animated, more of the animated Dark Island and seeing it snow. Last of all, we get to we see the ninjas basically, or two of the ninjas, Lloyd and Nia, basically holding onto a rope with a helicopter, which I'm assuming is being piloted by Zane, but I could be wrong. And they're basically flying away from the parsniks, which makes me believe that they may lose the city again. Like, it's just like, if they do, I'll be like, oh, come on, really? Really? Again? But anyway. And then we get to see the title for Ninjago, and it gets burned up by fire, symbolizing, you know, fire, which actually shows that this teaser is focused on fire. We also get to see that there is no Master Spinjitzu logo there, and a lot of people thought because there was no Master Spinjitzu that this was a reboot, and that was the most ridiculous thing I heard people talk about, and so many people actually realized how ridiculous that sounded, apart from the people who were thinking it, because that was a subtitle. That's all it was. It was a subtitle like Sun to Calm Down, but it was used more than Sun to Calm Down. Okay, that's what it was. Okay, without it, it doesn't change anything. It just hasn't got Master Spinjitzu. Still Ninjago. Subtitle is gone. And then obviously we get to see when it will release, which is 2019. Nothing else, just that. So we still don't know where it's going to air. Whether it be YouTube or Cartoon Network or something. Let me just say this though. I really find it hard to believe it's going to be on YouTube. I mean, it could be, but it seems kind of silly of them to put on YouTube for many reasons, but we'll see what happens. But anyway, that basically does it for my discussion of it. I gotta say, again, Australia's awesome. Hearing that the Fold isn't, like, did the music for this again, and or at least this beginning, it's really it gives me high hopes that the Weekend Whip theme kind of will, or something similar, will return, and yeah. But anyway, in the comments below, let me know what you thought of the teaser. Whether you thought it was good, whether you thought it was okay, what you thought of the animation. A lot of people are saying the anime, they're skeptical about the animation, but I think the animation is awesome. It's just more enhanced and more bright. So I think that's what people are worried about. Because it looks different because it's more bright. Like the last few seasons, they've been all dark, and this is like all bright again. It's all like shiny and bright. That's what it is. But it's good. It's like more a bright season because it's a bright new chapter. I'm sorry. I'm making terrible jokes here. I'm sorry. But anyway, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and check back every day for more Ninjago stuff. Got some unboxings, and let me know what type of videos you want to see for Ninjago. I do other videos, and I will still be doing other videos, but I will try and do more Ninjago stuff. Try. Keyword on try. But anyway, see ya.